Because I think we've got to get back to having a president who answers to the American people, not to the wealthy, the well-connected, the special interests, and all the others. And so as you look at my specific plans, I think you will see that I understand what folks are up against now, and that I am going to give you the support that we need together to change things. You know, when the mortgage crisis broke, I said we needed to take action immediately and freeze foreclosures, because there were a lot of people who were being taken advantage of by these predatory mortgage lenders. I've been all over this state, and I have met people who got themselves into a mortgage they didn't understand. Sometimes there was an inflated appraisal that raised the cost to them. They did not know that had happened. Sometimes they were given false information about what their obligations would be. And Indiana's had more than its share of foreclosures, 30,000 last year. And a lot of folks who are facing it today because we can't get this administration to do what we must. Well, I've said very clearly we should freeze foreclosures, help people work out a way to stay in their homes. A lot of people can pay what they're paying now, they just can't pay what they would have to pay if the interest rates go up. And there's one particular group of people, and I see someone here in the audience in uniform that I'm especially concerned about. While our young men and women are serving our country overseas, their homes are being foreclosed on. And I hear it all the time. I'm introducing legislation to say, look, at the very least, we need to stop home foreclosures of our soldiers in combat. We need to take care of them while they're taking care of us. Now, Senator Obama doesn't agree with me in making a home foreclosure moratorium, but I think that what I propose will finally begin to get a little more balance in the scales. Because if you think about it, we have been really out of balance under George Bush. You've got the wealthy, the well-connected, the cronies, the no-bid contracts. They sure have been taken care of. And everybody else has been left to fend for themselves. I think we need a president to put that thumb back on the balance and get it right for the vast majority of our people. And when it comes to one of the biggest problems we have, namely, how are we going to get affordable health care for everybody? I am proposing action that will cover everyone with affordable health care. And it's not government run, it's real simple. We're going to take a plan that already exists that provides health care to members of Congress and federal employees. 9 million federal employees. We're going to open it up to Hoosiers and Americans so you can have the same options. I was in North Carolina at one of my stops, and a woman said to me that she heard her local Republican congressman talking about how I wanted to socialize medicine. And she said, well, what do you say about that? I said, well, that's real interesting because my plan builds on what already works. It's uniquely American. It uses private insurance companies. So next time you see your congressman, ask him how he likes socialized medicine, because I want everybody to have what he has. I don't see how the Republicans are going to stand up to that. Why don't they give to you what they take for themselves that you pay 75% of the cost of? I don't think that's right. When we have 47 million uninsured Americans and millions more with insurance that doesn't cover what they need, the only way we're going to get costs down is to get everybody covered. I'll tell you a quick story. Because I just did a television show with George Stephanopoulos on ABC, and we had some Hoosiers in the audience asking me questions. And afterwards I answered more questions from people who stuck around. And I was talking to a woman who works in a hospital. And we were talking about how we have to change the whole healthcare system so it works better for everybody. And I told her about an experiment that one of our big companies, Safeway grocery stores, mostly out on the West Coast, did. It has a very conservative president and chief executive officer who just couldn't believe how much healthcare costs were going up. And he said to himself, there's got to be something better we can do. But it's very hard for any business to control costs because there's so much else that influences it. But he decided, he has a couple 100,000 employees, he decided to take 30,000 of them, put them in a special program, and pay for prevention. In other words, if you're a smoker, they pay for you to quit. If you're overweight, they pay for you to go to nutrition and exercise classes. They pay for mammograms, they pay for PSA tests. They would pay for prevention. You know, he was hoping that the cost would just stay the same and not keep going up. His cost went down 15%. Because he took a pool of people and he basically said, we're going to help you here, we're going to give you all the health insurance that you need, but you got to respond by taking better care of yourself. That's what we're going to do. We're going to get everybody covered so that prevention will be paid for. You know, most insurance companies, if you're a diabetic, they won't pay to have your feet checked, but they'll pay if you have to have your foot amputated. What sense does that make? So here's what I'm proposing. We're going to cover prevention. We're going to cover mental health, which should be part of our And my opponent doesn't cover everybody. He leaves 15 million people out, which I think is a big mistake, because that means the insurance companies are still in the driver's seat. Because we all who are insured, we pay a hidden tax. I don't know if anybody's ever pointed that out to you before, but on average, every family health insurance policy, there's a $900 hidden tax to pay for the uninsured. So if we get everybody into the system and everybody pays according to what they can afford, the cost of insurance for the rest of us will go down. So that's why you got to get everybody in. You can't leave anybody out, and unfortunately, this plan doesn't do that. So, you know, when gas prices started shooting through the roof and people in Indiana started telling me how painful it was, one woman said it made her sick to her stomach to go to the gas station anymore. It does, doesn't it? I drove to work with a young man in South Bend, and we stopped to have him fill up the tank of his pickup. $63 for half a tank. 95. 95? 102. 102. What else? So you know, so I think if you look at the record profits of the oil companies, they sure can afford to pay the gas tax for you, which will save the average family $70 over the summer, and it'll save people who drive further even more. It'll save truckers $2 billion in fuel costs, and that will bring down the price of food because it won't be going right into the cost of groceries. And I proposed it in a way that will pay for refilling up the Highway Trust Fund out of the record profits from the oil companies. So, you know, there's a big difference between us. And the question is, who understands what you're going through? And who can you count on to be on your side to get us to solutions that are going to help you for a change instead of folks who are already doing very well? And I think on every issue that matters, on energy and education and everything else, I believe we can make the changes, but we don't make them, as Evan said, by hoping for them. We don't make them by wishing for them. We don't make them by making speeches about them. We make them with very specific solutions to problems, and with a president who's going to be a fighter on your behalf back in the White House. Here's what I hope you'll consider on Tuesday. I believe I have what it takes to stand up and fight for you when you need a president on your side. I know what it takes to create good jobs and make this economy work for middle-class families again. And I'll do what it takes to keep good jobs here in America, lower gas prices, provide health care for every American, and no child